Okay, hello. You find yourselves deep into the plot. Pick an order amongst yourselves. I will then write you on. If this reveals new information for you, or should you wish to discuss your character's intentions, feel free to take a moment across the table to do so afterwards. Take your time, establish an order, and let me know once you have it.
Fourth.
Okay, I'll write that down.
Third.
Second.
First.
That was Taldred not going first.
I'm sorry, who was second and who was first? You guys are too fast.
Nothing gold's first.
Oh,
Held
I'm
second.
First, Nothing Gold. Second, Taldred. Third, Ada. Fourth, Brenner. Gasmi and Euros fighting over last place.
I'll go second from last. It's fine.
As you wish. That works well. Nothing Gold. You find yourself as Nothing Gold. You really follow your heart, don't you? We all have our flaws. Such a shame to share one. Perhaps you are not the forest, but rather the blaze that engulfs it. For brief moments you love the trees. Their green branches bulge and crack with steam, welcoming you. For a long hour, the tree will hold up not only its own branches, but you as well. Your touch makes the leaves glow and the twigs flare. Such intensity, but it never lasts. You really did like Alan from the swamp. And yours was really the only heart that broke when Smithfield was turned to ash. The cynicism, the mercenary soul of your companions, casts a long shadow over you. You can imagine Maris taking a deep breath of the salt air, her nostrils flaring, her slender legs flung over the side of an obsidian altar. Is it too late? Nothing Gold, anything you'd like to hash out with the party?
No, I think when we left off last, Gasmir and Nothing Gold were going to talk to Samantha. Yeah.
You will have the opportunity to very soon. I believe we had once we cut, everyone was assembling a task force of Nothing Gold and Gasmir to go approach the Purple Dragon Knights. Second, Taldred Talton. You find yourself as Taldred Talton. You've been doing this for 11 years, and this is the crew that you're running with? Well, honestly, not bad, sport. You certainly have come a long way. If only your old friends could see you now, running around casting 6th level spells, better armor than most fighters. Perhaps, Taldred, the champ was you all along. And yet, what's going on with these people? It's always something with their sister or their crazy friend from Tether or something. It's never something simple like gold for swords. What happened to gold for swords, people? So it begs the question, when does the universe start to spin on Taldred time? What's left on your list there, champ? Anything you need to get done before the curtain? Because if things are really going the way of Mage's Keep, it may be time to make sure you get through that portal before the tower collapses. Taldred, any business for the group?
Yes. So I believe when we left off, we were still kind of mid-conversation. And we've kind of concluded how we're going to progress with the Purple Dragon Knights. But Taldred does want to address one other thing. He's going to say, the Githyanki are going to arrive tomorrow afternoon.
do you pose this for the party, and perhaps we should hash it out?
Yes, correct.
Why don't we hash that out so that you can discuss the Githyanki timetable, perhaps after the Purple Dragon Knight conversation? Anything else?
Nope.
Ada. You find yourself as Ada Worthware. Getting up there in years, aren't we? Though it is nice having such a deep, longitudinal memory of your life. You remember going through a funhouse outside Larchwood and being stuck in the crowd. You wanted to leave, but the flow of people kept pushing you forward. People screaming in delight as a red-nosed clown pops out of a wall. Once you're inside of the clown's house, Ada, the people around you keep pushing you forward, and you are guaranteed to be scared by the big rusty saw blade in the last room. Once you have chosen to get onto the ride, the rest of the script is already written. Your right eye is now the same color as that clown's nose. Ada, you have some unique insights for your companions. Most of them are not only not as streetwise as you are, but these streets specifically, you are rather familiar with. You know, for example, that if you were to replace your old burned robe, the garment district in Suzail has several tailors that could turn around and order quickly. You have a funny feeling that you understand some of the behaviors of Evan and Samantha. Adventures in Cormier are licensed and registered. They cannot operate under the auspices of a mercenary group. It's illegal. This means that the Oswick Company, or the Griffin Company, for example, are both likely in the same mental category as violent gangs or outlaws to these knights. You can imagine Evan as a cop, and you and your ilk are essentially in the same realm as drug dealers or unscrupulous pirates. He must hate walking here with you. You wonder what state the city will be in when you arrive. Possible encounters include the governor, whom you know, both of your staffers, maybe even an old friend. This is your favorite part of the road, Ada, the promises that it offers.
We are going to have a better reason for entering the city gates than just we are getting paid to do so. Perhaps it would be useful if we could get some sort of official documentation from, or something that looks like official documentation from the governing body of Suzail.
A useful tool, certainly. You express this to the party. Any other business, Ada?
I'm waiting for the reaction with Samantha and Spanbauer. And I am low-key poised for violence should it come to it. Because Gasmir and Nothing Gold are the impish third of the crew.
Brenner Oswick. You find yourself as Brenner Oswick. Things have become a little complicated for you. That is an interesting pattern on your armor, Brenner. Is it new? You notice that Sala and Elias are studying it, and your inner monologue helps stoke observations about your bannermen. Now that sobriety has set in and you have had a long day together on the road, you have had ample opportunity to overanalyze all of your interactions with them. At this point in your journey, you have grown comfortable walking at the front of the formation. It feels natural to have your cleric at your back, and you can imagine Taldred back there. You have a sense for Yoros at your left, where he can cover your flank. Gastmir broods over your right shoulder, and you can only hear her breathing when the grade of the road gets steep. Nothing Gold and Ada always seem to degree, but inevitably walk together. Even the Purple Dragon Knights have settled into a rhythm with you. You can tell that Sala and Elias find it mystifying that without a word, they have been relegated to trying to find somewhere to walk at the rear of your little caravan. When Ada takes a break on the cart, Elias tries to talk to you, but instead gets randomly challenged by Samantha, who seems to be chewing invisible gum. You have no time to mediate Samantha's hourly argument. Hours later, here at the camp, you can tell that your old companions feel a bit marginal to your ascendant existence. Oh, right, and you are supposed to pay them. Payroll isn't always regular in the realms, but there is a certain noblesse oblige that you know is expected of you. It's hard, Brenner, to make room for new people by getting rid of the old. Sala's great to have a drink with. And Elias has a steady hand and an even temperament, but Elias really just learned how to strike twice. Ada gazes at drow war parties and crushes them instantly with the fury of winter. Sala has been working on her dodge and roll, and she can weave in and out of combat reasonably well. On the other hand, you have never seen anyone move faster than Euros, and he ends fights before Sala could even hustle into a stance. You have not lost your sense of time moving forward, Brenner, but you have created a past for yourself. Any business for the party, Mr. Oswick?
None current. He's also in the state of brooding right before the arguments ensue.
You're so good at brooding. Euros. You find yourself, as Euros, Thnalian. Your armor feels itchy today. You killed your commanding officer. One assumes that the natural progression here would be a court-martial of some kind. The penalty for treason is the same from Luskan to the Hordelands. So you have that, an impending dread about trials and a death by hanging. But it's not all bad. You have a plethora of weapons, even though you happen to be missing one. Someone broke the inviolable principle of leave my shit alone. But you get by. In fact, the timing here may be ideal for you. Surely, the Fist have re-secured Arabel by now, wouldn't you say? It may be better that you are hundreds of miles to the south. Any business for the party, Euros?
I think I'm more concerned with next steps and the appearance of a flying boat in the morning, and how the people on that boat kind of follow something Euros is kind of close to.
Absolutely. Gastmere. You find yourself as Lissa Gastmere. Congratulations. You're adopted. No, you're a Gastmere by birth. You have your father's dimpled little chin, and your mother sculpted those cheekbones. But you find yourself adopted by someone a bit taller than either of them. You can feel it here. The fire's crackling, the night sky is above you. You're a bit of a paladin now. Paladins are imbued with power by their deity, but you always skipped your theology classes. Thankfully, one of the best things about being human is you can learn a lot from your little experiences. You see Taldred Talden sitting by the fire, a cleric of Selune, although some say it's Selune, the goddess of moonlight, the stars, and finding your way back home by them. Taldred was formerly a cleric of Joaquin, the goddess of commerce, and grinding out a gold any way you can. Neither of those really fit. Next. You have heard Ada say a thing or two about Mistra, mostly to allay suspicion from whatever lurks in her book. Mistra? The guide of all magic, the center of the weave. Maybe in your former life, Gastmere, but certainly not now. Moving on. You see Nothing Gold studying a thorned branch. Her eyes narrow when she notices you. What does she believe in? Perhaps some garden of the Seldarine where the many green gods grow into one another, crowding each other out for the sun. A bit too flowery for you. Next. You see Eurosnalian studying his orange cloak, fermenting a thought in his head. Does he follow Shar, or is he plagued by her? Either way, Shar is the night, and the power of losing things and then mercifully forgetting that you lost them. Blackness. But you're more gray, wouldn't you say? Moving right along. You see Brenner Oswick and Samantha Ruthenberg. You know from Samantha's notes that she follows Torm, although perhaps she is growing close to the end of her faith. You know from conversations with Brenner that he struck down his faith in the god of law, obedience, and showing up for morning formation. Torm, you're not really a morning person anyway. Next. You have to crane your neck a bit to see... Oh, it's you, Gastmere. But then you can feel it. The fire crackles in front of you, and you can feel a heavy hand on your shoulder. You know who it is instinctively. It's the Red Knight. Tactics battle and attacks that strike true. Not a common patron for a paladin, but you are a bit uncommon, aren't you? Why not have a patron with blood-soaked red plate mail that sits far away, judging the party distantly? It seems that the Red Knight has adopted you as one of her own. And Lissa, starting with this, you have a bit of responsibility. You will have to judge those who transgress. Starting tomorrow, once per long rest, you will have a transgression to assign to one of your companions. The Red Knight trusts that you will use this to enforce a moral code. Good luck. Any business for the party, Gasmere?
Oh, that's going to depend entirely on what the party is going to do. How they shall be judged. But no. For now, she is thinking of the task of speaking to Samantha.
It is such that you find yourselves on the evening of September 6th. You have traveled for a day since leaving Alistrath's Old Vines. In your mind's eye, you can see Tony scrubbing the great wooden table with lemon and salt. In the back of the vineyard, his daughter is knitting a stuffed Gastmere from grey wool. You see 2 purple dragon knights honing their swords as if they're preparing for something. You see 2 bannermen of the Oswick Company sharing a thin flask of whiskey. The actions with the party.
Probably best you get... I can't speak. It's probably best you get this over with. Spreader nudges towards Nothing Golden. Listen.
Dave, you're muted.
Yeah, we're just getting interference on the line.
That is not better.
Well, Aida chokes on her food that I prepared. I will go ahead and clean everybody's dishes. Before you get this conversation well underway. Hope everybody enjoyed the fish.
Did Yaros actually end up serving some to Gastmere as well, despite the grand fish debate?
I would have told you that you wouldn't have gotten any, but I would have just served you last, if anything.
She accepted it.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Ada. You were saying?
Gasmere, I assume if you were to give a sign of trouble, we would recognize it without coaching on what that might be.
I'm sure you will hear the sound of someone's nose breaking if they do manage to make me angry.
Just know, Lissa. We have your back.
I appreciate that, Miss Worthware.
Yeah, I mean,
Wish
you're
us
probably
luck.
fine.
Actually, before I leave, I do have a question for all of you. How do you address a god?
Hello.
Like I said, I never talked to him.
Who are you planning on talking to? I'm sure they all have something different they would like said to them, much like mortals.
That's a good question. I was wondering if maybe Helm might be able to help us best here.
Helm. You want to contact Helm.
I didn't say I was going to do so successfully, but sure, why not?
Why not?
But why
shoot
don't
it
we think
toward our
outside
ship?
the box here?
From what I know about Helm, he's imperious and he does not take sides unnecessarily, so I assume a straightforward and rational approach would be the best. Pragmatic, if you will. Good luck, I've never spoken to him.
It's
And-
quite an unexpected interest in the divine. What brought this on?
She holds up the rock.
Ah. Given a shiny rock, you immediately wish to speak with a god. Noted.
Well, it's supposed to extend your voice to some range that we don't understand very well.
Which rock?
Yeah, he gave it to Nothing Gold in the last scene.
And I got it back.
No, you didn't. It was handed over again.
This thing on a leash.
Good luck.
I want to understand, it's... You wish to test the range of it, more than speak to a god.
No, it's just that I feel Samantha would listen to her gods better than us.
Perhaps.
I mean, what's stopping you from just impersonating a voice and just yelling in her head?
She just gets like the most wicked grin.
Just I don't know, just go behind the bush like you gotta take a leak and then just hit her with a message. Be like, "Ah, there's Samantha, you're doing it wrong." You know,
It's
something
quite
like
an
that.
interesting idea. I'd like to ask, was this idea yours, or did somebody do this to you?
What? Yell in my head?
Yes, yell in your head and pretend to be your god.
No. No, I mean, you guys yell at me plenty. So, I mean, my commanding
Mhm.
officer yelled at me. So, you kind of just pick up on ideas when you're getting yelled at, I suppose.
Nothing Gold, that's an interesting idea, and Helm certainly has no love for the Zentarum. Cyric specifically.
He seems easier to deal with than Thorm.
Yeah. Do you think Helm would take it kindly if you impersonated him?
What's he gonna do? Come down here and yell?
Can he reach me?
I don't know. I wouldn't want to find out.
I think if Helm were able to interact with this world meaningfully, we would have a different set of issues. Personally.
Yes, because if the gods were able to directly strangle somebody, Miss Worthware would be dead by the hand of Cyric.
True enough.
True.
So what's the problem?
Also, if you were going to use that simple sending stone to contact a deity on another plane, I'm afraid that we need to go back to interplanar communication 101, Nothing Gold. I think
Well,
we need a little bit of a more powerful artifact to forcibly contact a deity when they're not willing.
Yes, and I don't think I got to explain it, but that thing is, what I understand, is bound to the territory of those who create it. For the most part. So it's a Flaming Fist communication stone, right? Works best in Flaming Fist areas.
Also, as a matter of function, if you could imagine the Flaming Fist creating such an extremely powerful artifact, giving it to a corrupt commander, I think they would have successfully taken the city long ago.
I also doubt that the Flaming Fist have any command over Everwatch.
I should hope not.
I don't think so. But I wouldn't be surprised if they move south after their current occupation.
But-
Everwatch is up there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Feel free, Nothing Gold. Not to dissuade you, but let's temper your expectations.
Sure, it's just my line of thinking is that I was able to send a message from here to Suzale. So I believe that this spans the range of the Zentarim's sphere of influence, and we know that they seem to have at least some shard of Mystra. So I don't know if they have other gods.
Wow. Do try.
You
Why
know
not?
who I could talk to?
Yes.
Don't say Cyric.
Your mom?
Well, Mr. Tierney Fang, I believe, should be in range.
Why would you talk to him?
What, you've never fantasized about being able to just scream into his head?
No.
Why wouldn't you speak to your enemy? I mean, when you are dueling somebody, quite a large part of that is all the posturing and all the words that go into it before somebody actually dies.
Centarum aren't big on dueling. Or frontal conflict in general.
As much as you want to yell at people's heads, I don't think you should abuse that thing.
Tools are made to be used.
Not abused. A properly well-maintained tool will last you a lifetime. An abused tool will break in a week.
Consider that if you alert Tierney Fang to our presence that he doesn't already know, I'm sure he has ways of seeing us.
Probably.
Which he could
All
probably
right.
already use. So I'm not sure if the idea is even bad or good, to be honest.
That is sensible.
Well, why don't we deal with the most pressing issue? The hard-headed paladins.
Alright. Gasper, can you give me a boost?
I can.
To where?
Up! I just need to get higher.
Up anywhere?
You know what? Forget
Very
it.
well.
Oh, we already cast Enhanced Ability on the both of you, right?
Yes.
Okay. What more could you need?
Do you wish to be closer to the heavens? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Couldn't you just like climb a tree?
Oh, it's funnier if I make Gasper do it.
I'm just gonna try and fucking launch her into the air. Yeah, she's gonna like offer an arm, and then if Nothing Gold tries to step on it, she's gonna fucking yeet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she'd see it coming, so.
Roll strength.
Oh gosh. 13.
You take it upon yourself to eject Nothing Gold from realm space as best you can. You are moderately effective, throwing her roughly 5 or 6 feet into the air above you. Nothing Gold, I think you are nimble enough to do your business while you're in the air and land. What is that business? What are you attempting to do?
We'll just, call home.
Describe your exact order of operations. What you do, how, what you say. And I think you have about 5 seconds of hang time.
Yeah, so she's just holding this rock. It's very close to her chest, cradled. And she has, crunched into a little ball after Lissa has thrown her to ensure best amount of airtime. And as she gets close to the apex of this leap, she will just say, "Hi, Helm, this is Nothing Gold. We could really use our help, so please get in contact with me. Bye."
You do your best to increase the information density of what you say to new heights. You reach out with the message spell, attempting to contact Helm wherever he is. The Great Watcher does not respond, but you sense something within yourself, Nothing Gold. Sometimes, when using the message spell or similar implements, you can tell when there's nothing on the other end, when you're reaching out into nothingness. This does not give you that same feeling of hollowness within you. You land in a cloud of dust.
It looks really cool when she lands, just so you know. Well, I did my best. I did reach someone. I don't know if it was the right one, but something heard me.
Could have been a bird.
What do you think heard you?
The only feedback I get is that basically something was on the other end of the line.
Does that mean something is always listening to us?
Birds.
Does Salune always listen to you?
I'd like to think she does. Why wouldn't she?
I can think of several reasons.
All right, well, break out the list.
I believe we haven't got all night, I'm sorry.
That's what I thought.
Anyway, I did my thing. We can go now.
Can I have my stone back?
I'm using it.
You're throwing it in the air. It's not a toy.
No, I'm an artificer.
It's not a toy.
Alright, well, she just walks off with it.
Asmith shrugs and follows.
Let's go to the map. Go ahead and assign your positions to something reasonable for what we're trying to do here. I see Nothing Gold has approached the Paladins. Gasmir, you are accompanying her. Is the rest of the party in a suitable configuration, mostly around the party? Ada, a bit by yourself?
Scrubbing dishes.
Ada don't want to sit by the campfire with the boy.
Nah, it's a little too much man on the road smell.
Wow.
Prestidigitate a good smell.
Nothing Gold and Gasmir. Evan Spanbauer spits on the ground as you approach. It appears he was mid-thought. It's not right anyway. 2 unmannered knights. I can't believe that stone-cold bitch stole my fucking horse. Samantha raises a single eyebrow and studies you as you approach. What?
Hello, I don't think we've been introduced to your friend.
They look between each other. He's not my friend. This is Sir Evan Spanbauer. Is that enough of an introduction? Spanbauer looks at you and does not extend a hand.
Asmir considers them already introduced because I believe she was inside when during the inn nonsense, but Nothing Gold was outside, yes. Yeah. So she does not greet them, but she does look on.
You look on. The paladins look impatient. Spanbauer sets down his whetstone.
Alright, well, you're not friends. What? How did you meet?
They look between each other And Samantha emits a soft chuff that's more like a under her breath chuckle. What is this? Getting to know you hour. Where did we meet?
It sort of is getting to know you hour.
Do you
We
think...
have some mutual business, do we not?
Do we? Let's
In a
talk.
manner of speaking.
Let's talk about the mutual business then, and not anything assuming that our relationship is a meet cute.
Very well, Samantha. Shall I assume that your not friend is allowed to hear all of it?
Shall you assume what? Perhaps I didn't hear you.
Your friend. May we speak freely in front of him?
He tilts his head and looks directly at you. Say what you feel. I'll hear it anyway.
Oh. To be quite blunt, my friends are a touch antsy about your intentions once you reach Suzale. And I would like to discuss that as well. Because my goals are potential mutual cooperation in the future. What are yours?
He leans forward, putting his elbow on his knee, and he sneers at you, Gastmere. Very presumptuous to assume that we would have mutual goals. How do I make this clear to you? I know that the two of you and your friends are mercenary scum. I don't think we have a lot to talk about. I think she is a better audience for you, but I find it hard to believe our goals will ever be the same. Do you take...
That would rather depend on your goals, would it not?
Do you not believe in a free Cormyr?
Do you take life for money, kid? Get the fuck out of my face.
No, it's a bit more complicated than that.
But at the same time, it's not. Perhaps you'd like to complicate it. My life is simple.
But yes, you just murder people for free, is that it?
He looks incensed. Watch your fucking mouth. I'm not a murderer.
Could you perhaps elaborate on your goals then?
They look between each other, trying to assess whether or not you're trying to strong-arm them into talking or not. Gastmere, would you prefer to pursue this as intimidation? Are you trying to twist their arm a bit? Or persuasion? Are you trying to figure out what their goals are on a fairly, I've noticed you use the word mutual several times. Are you trying to break bread with them, or are you trying to muscle them out?
Weirdly enough, she is actually quite cordial currently. Like, she is trying to be nice in a Gastmere sort of way, which means that she still has like a really massive judgmental bitch face, but I mean, she is being polite. So I'd say persuasion is probably more like it currently.
Roll persuasion.
I forget. Does the clothing give advantage to that? I don't think it does.
Shall we review the manifest together?
I think I should do that, yeah. I think it was insight and
Insight
something else.
and perception.
Perception, yes. Right. It's not very good. It's a 10.
You
Nice even 10.
ask Evan Spanbauer if he will share his goals with you.
Wait, were we giving advantage to charisma-based things?
Charisma, yes.
Oh, I rolled that again, sorry.
And I'll add +4 to whatever you get.
That's a 24 in that case. I rolled a 19.
You. Look Evan Spanbauer in the eye, and he looks back at you. You have the distinct impression that he is not used to speaking to people like you, Gastmere. Samantha stands up. You say you have questions about our goals, or our goals not a free Cormyr. Certainly. Certainly you may have some difficulty ascertaining exactly what it is we seek to do. I'll explain it again, as I attempted to before. When we arrive back in the capital, we will take terms to the Zentarum. They have a puppet government set up in Suzail. I know that there is difficulty in the administration of such a state. It is such that I will ask them if Cormyr can remain free, elect its own officials, for example, and not have the Zentarum installing governors. My hope is that they will find me and my brethren. She puts her hand on Spanbauer's shoulder. More effective allies than attempting to do all of this themselves. They need a crony, and I am happy to be that person. I know that may be difficult for you, or even distasteful for you to understand. I told you that I think that these head-on attacks, taking a portal into Zental Keep, is futile. This is not a realistic assessment of the best way forward. I know that we do not see eye to eye on this, but it doesn't matter to me. I am going to take terms to them and tell them that yes, I will work for them. Yes, we will exist under the fist of the Zent, because it is better that than non-existence entirely, as you just saw in Arabel. What is worse? You tell me. Would you rather live under the fist of the Flaming Fist? She gestures across the night air to Yoros. Or would you rather have some say in the future of your country? Is that clear enough? Those are my intentions. And I told that one, she gestures toward Nothing Gold, that one of the ways that I attempted to broker this with the Zent is I told them that you will be coming. I gave that information to Maris, who most certainly is in the capital now. What she is doing with it, I'm not sure. I have other ways of contacting the Zent as well. It will be much easier in person, I suspect.
That is a very good explanation. Thank you, Samantha. I do understand why you are doing this. I suppose my concern is that your expectations might not be met, and if you do not have a secondary plan, what do you do then?
Is there a proposition in there?
Yes. Help us maneuver into a position where we are the secondary plan. I realise that this whole storming the keep is a bit rough and raw, and I agree it doesn't sound very solid in its current state, but we are refining that plan. And I think having friends in a place that... well, in a position that you are angling for would be beneficial.
You are proposing that in case, and this is all speculation on your part, in case the Zentarum would not treat with us, you would expect me then to support your endeavor. Is that correct?
At the very least, yes. I do realize you're not going to make a deal with me that's too damaging to your own state. I wouldn't wish to ask that. But perhaps small compromises here and there, yes? Is there anything else about us that you intend to give to the Zend? Or have you already given what you intend to give?
I've already given what I intend to give. I'm unsure if the message was delivered. This is one of many businesses I have in the capital. I owe Maris a visit. I suspect you do as well. Seems familiar, doesn't it? Remember when
Yes.
that one, she gestures toward Taldred Talton. Remember when that one took a thunderbolt to the hand? If you think that more of the same lurks on that front, then perhaps that would be a natural alliance.
Would that not damage your relationship that you're intending to forge here with the Zend if you, do something of such nature to Maris?
A fair point. I could see why that may have been misleading. I don't mean to march in there with a hostile tone. However, if we approach her together, I can't help but think that outcomes may be better. If this doesn't work for you, then don't worry about it. I'm just coming up with ideas.
What do you think, Nothing Gold?
Spanbauer turns and looks at you, Nothing Gold. Why aren't you saying anything? Did you just come over here to watch? You want to talk about intentions? What exactly are yours?
I think negotiation is, well, more in Gasmir's wheelhouse. I am just confused by you, she says to Samantha.
What the fuck is a Gastmere?
You don't even know her name?
Spanbauer tilts his head at you.
I'm Gasmere.
Spanbauer looks back at you. Oh.
Don't worry. You'll come to know the name.
Roll
I
intimidation.
think the entire realm will.
Roll intimidation at advantage.
13 plus. I think it's a +5. Yes. 18.
18. You have a rather fearsome outline tonight.
So I believe that the plan we were previously trying to agree on was that you would let us execute our plan, and in the event that we failed, you would then go to the Zend. My question is, if you always thought this plan was going to fail, did you bring that up to Smithfield? Did you?
Many times. Yes, of course I did. Again and again.
But you would defer to him, and now that he's gone.
That you are exactly right.
So why not let us carry out his last wishes? Obviously he meant something to you.
I'm not stopping you. I don't even know if the Zent will take this report seriously. And now, admittedly, after a day on the road with you, I would be remiss if I did not feel a pang of regret knowing what I've already done. But I can't undo things. And I can't help but think I did it for the right reasons.
It is not too late to sort of twist things around to our advantage. And I would be remiss if I did not bring up the very real concern that I have, that the Zent will simply kill you once you've turned over your information. They don't like loose ends.
Certainly, I don't think any of us is out of their reach, but I have thought about that. If I'm going to find safety in this world, it'll be with people like my captain. Again, she gestures toward Evan.
And is there any chance you might be willing to arrange the meeting with them in a location where we might observe from a distance perhaps and step in if you do require assistance?
You request this, having, we circle back a bit to your 18 on your intimidation roll, having established a strong negotiating position with Evan, you request that they meet with the Zent somewhere public so that you can observe. Spanbauer narrows his eyes and looks at you, Gastmere. I don't see why not. It seems reasonable enough that if anything, if things did get out of hand, you might even be able to provide a measure of security. Isn't that accurate?
Exactly.
They look between each other. I think you've given us a lot to think about. Perhaps tomorrow.
And perhaps we would like to accompany you to Marius, but I shall bring it up with my friends.
They give you... Samantha gives you a deep bow. Evan gives you a perfunctory.
Gasmer gives like a half bow. It's very formal and very stiff.
Nothing Gold just stares.
You do so.
Gasmer turns around and sweeps off because clearly we're done. Leaving Nothing Gold to stare for a few seconds.
Before she turns around and skips off.
Catching up with the rest of the party.
Are they? Is it clear that they're in transit back over to the party at this point?
I think they're already back.
Well, no shattered cartilage. I guess things went better than expected.
There's still time.
There's always time to break a lid.
Always an occasion, yes, but
Or two.
I believe that if you'd like a short summary of what happened, perhaps.
Yeah.
We're all ears.
In short, Samantha has already given what information about us to the Zent she intended, so there is nothing more that she intends to give up, as far as our position goes, as far as I understood.
To be specific, she handed it to Maris, who has not yet delivered it onwards to the Zent. Her intention was to go tell Maris, yes, please hand it onwards.
And I believe she made the offer that we can accompany her to Maris if you'd like, and I believe that might be wise.
I could be Maris.
You could
You could what?
have an illusion to look like Maris. Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Are you
What
sure
would
your
the gain
illusion-
be?
Sorry?
What would be the benefit?
Well, if she says to Maris, yes, please give them up to the Zend, then ta-da, I don't have to do anything.
It's an option. I don't like it.
I mean, we've already worked so hard to gain your trust. Why would you? Is honesty such a bad thing?
I'm sorry, did I just come back to a bunch of doppelgangers? Were you not just advising me to pretend to be a god and yell into her head?
I think this is something you brought up.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
We didn't have that idea.
That was a joke, obviously.
If we may return to the topic at hand,
Agreed.
Samantha's goal, shall we say, is to negotiate a deal where Cormier may assign their own officials.
Yeah, folly.
Without... Yes, I agree. Which is why I requested that they meet with the Zend in an area where we might, well, observe the situation unfold, and if necessary, intervene.
That would be a nice way to finger some Zentarum officials.
It's going to be Maris. She's planning to talk to Maris.
Her only contact is Maris?
She's said that she has other means to get in contact with the Zend, but yes, her intention was always to go specifically talk to Maris.
Do you think that's credible? Do you think she has any other real source?
Seems like a weak chain of command, if you ask me.
If her only chain of contact is Maris, she's not the one pulling the strings. She's the one greasing the bow.
More to that end, we never really figured out what Maris's intentions were in the first place. You said there were splinter factions with the Zentarum, true?
Yes, Kamar was part of one of them.
And your interactions with Maris has led you to believe what of her exactly?
Just that there's more to her than what we've seen presently. I cannot say for sure one way or the other.
I mean, pretty obviously the Zentarum either would let Samantha set up the puppet government for their own benefit and Cormier wouldn't be free.
Yep.
Or they would just kill obvious opposition to their rule.
I brought that up to her as well.
I'm sure she would be happy to die in the service of Cormier.
I suppose if you did want to, quote-unquote, finger some Zentarum, we could let her actually talk to Maris and say, please arrange a meeting with somebody, and then we witness that. But that feels like, honestly, too many variables, I don't think.
Yes, perhaps we should have asked for clarification, because I was under the impression that Maris was separate from this whatever other meeting they had planned, but I could be wrong.
Well,
In any case, I attempted to suggest to her that this relationship with the Zend isn't quite proceeding as handsomely as she might hope, that she would back our play once we have refined our plans. Storming the keep isn't exactly the best plan. We might need a touch of subtlety in there somewhere, or perhaps some more impressive weapon.
You already have an impressive weapon.
I mean, do you want to tell her about the Censor of Hell?
We really aren't talking about your prick now. Please shut up.
I was talking about the Censor of Helm, and no, seeing as how we don't know who she'll give that information to, as it's quite obvious that the Zentarum do not realize the significance of the weapon.
In any case, I'm happy to
Such a
watch
thing
them
even
have a
exists.
conversation. More so, their entire leverage for this free Cormier under the boot of the Zentarum is us. What makes you think they're not going to let us up if we're watching them? They turn around, point the finger, and we find 18 daggers in our backs.
Oh, that would be exciting now, won't it?
yeah, the Samantha story does not exactly hold water. I'm forced to agree with Brenner. So the deal we get from her after she betrayed us and openly wanted to slay us is that we get to broker her further benefiting from our betrayal. Is that correct? That's what I'm reading.
I was rather hoping that she would actually manage to get into some manner of a position with the Zant, because she did express some regret for giving us up, and I am actually prone to believing her.
Yeah,
Perhaps she could be used
it's a
later
miracle.
on.
It's a miracle she has enough of a spine to bend the fucking knee.
I think she finds you rather easy to manipulate, Gasmir.
And why is that?
Well, you do appreciate when people show you respect.
Do I?
Yes. You're very quick on the uptake.
I'm rather surprised to even know what respect means.
I think we're all being taken for a ride, but very slowly. None of us are unique here in our ability to not see reality for our own idealism.
Oh, but that's the beauty of a ride. If somebody takes you on it, it's like a dance. You can reverse the position at some point.
Well, how do you
It's the
propose?
fun in a dance that only goes one way for a bit.
How do you propose we reverse the position here?
Kick their knee in.
I don't think we have enough information yet. I would love to see this interaction between the Scent and them for that reason.
Well, she will lead us to Mars, won't she?
I think Nothing
Yes.
Gold could already find Maris.
Yes, I would like to find her first.
So you said.
Is that a hint of mistrust in your voice, Taldred?
It just seems a little bit odd to me.
What
I wouldn't
does?
ask to speak to her without anyone here present,
She specifically asked to speak to me alone.
and that's incredibly suspicious of someone who clearly doesn't have our best interest at heart.
You're saying I don't have your best interests in heart?
No, I mean she doesn't.
If one of you wants to be invisible, just don't be scandalized by what I may ask her to do afterwards, that's all.
Nothing
What?
Gold, your faith in magic as inviolable. I think we need to change this opinion. Maris would easily see through any invisibility spell any of us could cast.
Why is that?
Because she's a supplicant of Cyric. We would be pulling from the same material of the plane that he resides in. There's no way it would shroud us.
She also has the home field advantage sport.
If I shroud you with the Seldarine's magic.
Perhaps. But perhaps not. Either way, it's a lot of risk for something we don't know for sure.
Worst comes to worst. I think out of a lot of us, I've got the most cordial relationship with Maris. I was polite, she was polite with me. I walk in, not invisible.
She asked to speak to me.
I'm still concerned about the Samantha situation. We're gonna march her on a palanquin on our shoulders right into the Zentarim's lap so she can further drive the knife in our ribs. I don't understand what... We need a better plan amongst ourselves.
Well, we can always turn around and return to Arabelle if you are so concerned.
With or without her live body.
I don't really see why we need her at this point.
Forbes asked us to. Not that I really agree with it, but I have to assume he sees something in her. He's known her longer. Maybe she has some unknown quality that we can't quite detect.
You know,
Yes, well, these are trying times. Forbes will just have to get used to disappointments.
I like Forbes as a man. I would drink a beer with him. I don't like Forbes as a manager. He's incompetent.
Well,
Is he?
doesn't Forbes kind of have a point about what she's going to do when she gets there? Isn't this kind of the roadmap of Samantha's trajectory right now? Walk into Zazale, approach the Zentarum and say, I will be your puppy, your lapdog, and I will do your bidding if you plant me on your council of idiots. And then she marches up to Arabel with a small army of insane paladins at her back. We're not going to be able to beat them. Isn't this an augury of the future provided by yours truly, Walter Forbes? Isn't this the most straightforward thing the Zentarum would do? Pit two former allies against each other? Have them both be destroyed and eliminate both problems in one fell swoop?
I mean, you could try to convince her of that, but
There's no convincing. If we want to pull the rug out from under her, that's one thing. But I think watching as she fucks us over is probably the worst plan of attack I can fathom.
so what are you suggesting?
We stop her now, or we sabotage her endeavors. I liked Nothing Gold's line of thinking. Maybe not the execution, but we can hammer that out.
Honestly, we have so many people here who seem to like painting pictures of the future, yet I see no divination magic. Perhaps you should start learning that so we can actually confirm all these wild theories.
I actually did start learning some divination magic, but I cannot tell the future yet. You are going to have to ask the wise Alundo.
I don't think you need to be able to see the future to understand what Samantha's motivations are.
I think she's kind of laid all the cards out on the table at this point.
Yeah, she did quite directly tell us what her motivations are. We know them.
I cannot believe any of her motivations are true when her big complaint was that Arabelle was taken over by the Fist, we stopped them, and she didn't even bat an eye. She's not interested in free Cormyr, she's interested in being seated at the top of the shit heap.
I
I
really think so.
Why
It's-
wouldn't that have moved the needle? I don't understand. She had exactly what she wanted. We ousted the Fist.
I
Oh, I
don't
just
think
kind of
she-
assumed she was a stubborn bitch.
I'm not sure that she was convinced that we did oust the Fist.
If you convinced her of that, do you think it would change her course? I think it should, in a sane world. But we live in Samantha's world.
We didn't exactly run out of the Fist either. There's more of them. We killed, what, 5? I'm sure they have a few more fists than that.
You cut the head off the snake, though.
There's always more snakes.
That wasn't
There's
the
not
only head,
always
now
more
was it?
snakes.
There's always somebody looking to get promoted.
Now, that wasn't her reaction, now was it? It was, I don't give a shit. Which is extremely peculiar to me, I have to say.
I agree. Her words and her actions do not align at all.
When we were treating with Maris, who was ready to kill her? It was you and me, Taldred, if I recall.
Yeah.
And she shamed us for not going through with it.
Honestly, if we are going to be murderous about this, how about this? We let her arrange the meeting with the Zens, then we ambush and kill them.
I love this plan. Let's talk more on this line of thinking.
I could definitely go for that.
You got information from her. I thank you, Gasmir, and Nothing Gold. Very well done. But let's not take it at face value, because nothing she does is at face value.
I do have some concern with walking into Cizale, where again, the Zentarum will have a much stronger presence, and they will have eyes everywhere. And I can tell you that is not the kind of scenario where you want to try and pull one over on the Zent.
There was that matter of paperwork, was there not?
Yeah. I helped sign it into law, actually.
Oh, great. That's what
Well-
you thought of us dirty mercenaries then, huh?
At the
They-
time.
Don't let mercenaries in the city?
We did not let mercenary companies open operate openly for fear that something like happened in Arabel would happen in Cizale. Yeah, it is a real concern that these autonomous militaristic groups will form a coup under the name of administration, as we saw in Arabel.
Okay, but
I have no problem
would
with
they
a lot of you, to be clear.
turn us away from the gates for being mercenaries?
They absolutely would if they're still following the law.
Well, if those laws are still enacted, do you know for sure that they are?
I don't, but I don't see why the Zentarum would oppose something that would help them marshal their power.
Well, if you wrote the law, then how do you get around the law?
Well, I'm not the one administering it anymore.
Yeah, but the rules are kind of there to be followed. Right?
How long ago was this?
And during the spell plague, a year or two. Back when city council had more of a say in things. Back before the Black Network reached its claw into the government apparatus in that area.
Why are you no longer part of the government?
Well, as you can see, I think we have bigger problems in the world.
Right, but you can understand the jump from civil servant to, oh, how do I put this politely? Demon ensorcelled caster. You know, that's a bit of a jump, just a little bit.
When your governing body that you believe so much in gets defrocked, stripped of all of its power, the Zentarum come in underneath you and destroy all of the free process that you worked so hard for, yeah, you do feel like you need something else on your side. It's not enough for people to be just and believe in the system anymore.
You are preaching to the choir. You don't have to, explain to me why the Zentarum need to go, why they are so despicable. I just found that quite the turnaround.
Yeah, well, a lot of things have happened.
True enough. That doesn't solve the problem. How does 6, 7, 8, 9, however many there are of us now, wearing swords on our hips, walk into Cizale?
I have an even better question because I'll be honest, we're kind of putting the cart before the horse right now. We have a meeting tomorrow in the afternoon. I communed with Salune. She confirmed in the afternoon the Githyanki will arrive.
Yeah, my calendar was a bit mixed up. It's a fast couple of days. What are we
How-
gonna do about that?
How far away from Suzelle are we currently?
Probably 3 more days on the road at least. More if we keep bickering around on the campfire.
Well, we're not traveling at night anyway. This is free time. If we want to spend it bickering, that's fine.
We clearly are.
I'm not sure being in Suzale would somehow make us safer from the Githyanki if our suspicions about them are true and who they serve.
It'll make it a lot harder to further convince them that we are actually under their employ.
Not much is true.
Not sure. I would assume there's more like a mutual benefit going on here than employers. But either way, I think our story of the Flaming Fist took it and we are no longer in that area because we are fleeing from the Flaming Fist is somewhat true, if not completely true.
I'm not fleeing from anything. Just going on a trip.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
a blind ogre could see through our subterfuge of what we really are, which is a bunch of mercenaries. We have a member of the Fist. We have 2 paladins of purple dragons. We have 2 mercenary captains.
I don't know. The guy could barely
Mercenary,
talk right. He kind of seemed dumb as shit, if I'm honest.
Would it be more beneficial to break into smaller groups and perhaps those who can turn into cats and such can find their own ways inside the city?
How does
Gladly.
that help us with the Githyanki?
No, it doesn't.
I wasn't thinking of the Githyanki. I was thinking we'd simply slaughter them. That seems to work.
I won't lie. I'm a fan of that plan, and we should have secondary and tertiary plans in place.
Mr. Tolton, this was your problem. I thought you had an answer already.
I said, yes, I said we would tell the truth. I do. I don't believe this is just my problem, though.
Yes, I suppose we shall have to help you slaughter all of them. Could you offer them something else, perhaps?
Absolutely. I will give them nothing. Not a thing.
That seems like a terrible bargain.
Couldn't you
I
just
wouldn't
give
take
them-
that deal.
Couldn't you just give them market rate for the mithril?
You got deep pockets there in that vest of yours, sport?
We have an endless bag.
Somewhat of it. You think that's worth nearly as if we're correct in assuming just how much mithril they're expecting, that wouldn't even be a drop in the endless bag.
Okay. Well, I'm not an economist, so I didn't know.
Fair enough.
So let's say things go poorly. They're likely to go south. Let's not mince words. How are we going to kill 2 dragons and an entire crew of Githyanki atop a boat that flies ahead? I don't know about you, but I can't sprout wings.
That's true.
I don't know if we can take all those anti-paladins. I'm going to be honest.
Considering we will probably have the help of Samantha and Brenner's Bannerman?
Yeah.
I like our chances, I'll be honest. But has anyone here actually ever fought a dragon?
No.
Those Bannermen will be dead in about 3 seconds.
Okay. Can we talk about the maybe non-violent solution? I think we all have the violent solution locked down.
Do we, though?
Apparently.
What do we do
Wasn't
if
Aldrich-
they come at us?
You were supposed to negotiate.
And I plan to, but once again, no plan survives first contact.
That's why I brought it up. I trust in your silver tongue. You've gotten us out of more uncomfortable situation.
And I believe in myself as well. Truly, I do. But I always have a backup plan.
That's
How
what I'm saying.
about a small team exercise? Everyone comes up with something that we could offer them.
I will not give anything to worshippers of Shar. Not a
Brenner
thing.
just looks directly over his shoulder to Samantha.
Rather seems our negotiator is entirely unwilling to actually negotiate with these people.
You
I
said
never planned to give them anything from the get-go. That shouldn't be a surprise.
You called them something, Ada. I'm not familiar with these extra planar beings. You called them anti-paladin.
Yes, they are all crazed fanatics in service of a lich queen who has reigned for millennia in the astral plane. I don't know too much about them, but they are oath-bearing paladins, as you might imagine. They're all
She
bound.
sounds rather successful, is what you're saying.
They're extremely regimented. They will all fight to the death. They all wield powerful magics and are resistant to magics.
See, that's the kind of information we need.
It rather sounds like you'd rather not fight them.
That is what I am trying to say. I also cannot take down a spelljammer.
Can you not?
I cannot.
What about that fireball we saw back in the swamp? I mean, I assume a spelljammer is still mostly wood.
It is. But on the time frame we're talking about, maybe I fireball the thing, it takes 20, 30 minutes to burn.
I've been in a couple fires, and that's what you're saying is possibly true. However, there's a lot of moving parts in that.
There
At
are.
any rate, it would make it so they might be unable to fight from the spelljammer, which
We
in
certainly have
itself would
tools.
be huge.
We have tools. I will grant you that, but I don't like our chances, and I would prefer not to fight. And especially since I can do magic, supposedly Oros, I think the rest of the group is kind of Toral bound, if you know what I mean. Feet on the ground. We don't have the upper hand here.
You.
And if we are not willing to give them anything, that presents a problem because negotiating often involves you giving up something to somebody who's otherwise going to squish you like a bug.
Well,
Yes, nothing gold.
let's explore this option a little bit. Does anybody have anything made of mithril? We have a bunch of weapons we're not using. Are any of them made from an alloy I could break them down into? You said that they don't use magic. Can they detect an illusion?
They definitely use magic. Magic is inherent in their society.
You have to use magic to hate magic.
That's very much not true, bud.
Don't you need magic to cancel out magic?
To hate it? But you said negate, not hate.
Negate.
Scratch that.
We can give her. We discussed this a day or two ago back in Forbes's keep. But why don't we just insinuate that the mithril was stolen by the Flaming Fist, which it was.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's what I said. And furthermore, if we tried to appease them and make it seem like we're trying to offer up something else, I don't see why they wouldn't just take everything we have.
Are they not an honorable type of
They
people?
serve a lich.
They were very polite when they talked to you.
It's because they wanted something from us.
Trusting somebody based on the fact that they're lich seems a bit narrow-minded.
We'll come back to that comment later. However, they may be structured, but that doesn't mean they're honorable. I don't know a ton about Githyanki society. I've
And
only
even-
read a few about it, a few books
Even
about
if
it.
they are. I suspect there are many people that are honorable. In the Flaming Fist, for example. Yoros, I think you're honorable. But based on what we saw in Arabel, not all of them are.
I mean, you can say that about anything.
Exactly.
Like, Ada's a good politician. Most aren't.
How do you know she's a good politician?
I'm assuming.
Wow.
Because I quit.
Exactly.
I may know some people in Arabel. Sorry, Cizale. I don't know what the state of the city is like, but if certain people are still living there, it may be advantageous for us if we can tap them on the shoulder first and maybe get some safe house with them. I don't know the status of them. Again, I'm just guessing.
Are we going to run into this Githyanki problem before then?
Yes,
Far
in the
before.
afternoon.
Yes, let's do a small exercise. I'm the Githyanki. Where's my mithril? What are you going to say, Mr. Tolton?
It was stolen by the Flaming Fist.
That sounds like a you problem. Give me my mithril.
Don't have it. We were chased away from the mine.
Unfortunate for you. I think I will kill you now.
And there it is. And there we fight. If that's how you truly think it's going to go, perhaps we should simply attack first. I believe that they will not be quite so stubborn. I believe that I can make this go away. That's why I say it's a backup plan. But if you would like to push that to the forefront, I have no issue with that.
Look, if it comes down to it and we need to avoid a fight, I can negotiate.
What are you gonna offer up?
Well, an associated, as you figured out, I am associated with Shara, unfortunately. and they respect Shar.
How are you associated with Shar?
If you know, I'll just lift up the cloak over my armor, and since it's nighttime, there's going to be a sigil of Shar glowing.
What in the fuck is that all about?
The fists put it on me.
Why?
I'm assuming Avery made some kind of deal with them,
Avery did that?
as far as I know.
Why?
Has that not come off?
No. You know how all the others, Flaming Fists, were able to cast magic?
Yeah.
It's their armors. That's why they all had that fancy armor, the casters.
What the fuck does she get in return for that?
I don't know. Some kind of deal was cut. I was sent in, scouted, I presume. Information was sent back, and that's how the fists came in.
Can I cut in?
Of course.
I don't know that the Githyanki revere anybody but their Lich Queen. I've never heard of them openly practicing a religion. I don't think this is an airtight plan.
But when we saw them up in the mountain, didn't you see her emblem?
Oh.
You did mention that they served Shar. You said that.
You did. I specifically remember that. And that's the only reason why I'm bringing this up.
You're right, I did forget about that. It has been quite a week.
And since we're out of Avery's territory, I suppose I can mention this now.
Okay, but if I mention that that the Flaming Fists stole our mithril, perhaps don't share that you are in any way affiliated with the Flaming Fist?
Yeah, it's as easy as just taking off whatever banner of theirs I still have on me.
I thought you
It's
said you
nothing
couldn't
impeccable.
remove it.
The armor itself doesn't have the emblem of the fist on it.
Then what does?
My tabard that I wear over it to cover it.
Oh. You can't take the tabard off.
No, I can, and I have.
Oh. Then why are you alright.
We have a fallback plan at least.
Just, you can still have pride in the things you once served. Is that why you not half of you still fly half the things you wear?
Brenner intentionally looks away from you.
But when push comes to shove, I can try and negotiate.
Let's once more circle back to if it becomes a bit of a scuffle, what are our options? What kind of ranged attacks do we have access to? Does anyone know how a spelljammer works? Can we run away from it?
They can.
Evidently, there is some manner of a control device. I believe we discussed this previously.
If you kill the captain, likely they'll crumble. This is another regimented unit like the Fist.
Yeah, that's a
the
good
thing-
point.
The thing I would be most concerned about is, obviously, the air superiority of the dragons that they were flying.
Yeah.
I am not equipped to withstand any sort of dragon breath attack.
Yeah, so clumping up, if it does come to a fight like that, coming too close to each other, a bad idea. But,
I imagine the anti-paladins will be able to turn invisible, and that'll be the first thing they do.
Great.
does it matter if they're invisible if you blow their ship up?
We'll see. I mean, I'm sure they can cast something like Misty Step. I don't know what they cast on the astral plane, but I think they can close the distance and put a knife in our backs.
I'm okay with them closing the distance.
I'm just warning the group.
Okay.
Those are the
No,
things
but
we'll have to
they-
contend with.
Such a shame to blow up such a beautiful ship. I'd love to have it.
And I agree with you, but I have a hard time imagining a scenario where we beat the Githyanki and leave the ship unscarred. If we want to think about such an idea, I would love to hear that for sure.
Perhaps a few scars that we could fix.
We do have an artificer.
I can also get 2 people on that ship very quickly if we needed to get onto their ship.
Should that not have been the first thing you said?
I didn't want to interrupt.
All right.
Please do interrupt when you actually have something important to say. Which isn't very often, but
Well, a lot of things I think important you don't think is important, so sometimes I just decide not to chime up.
let's make it chaos. Chime up more often.
I'll do my best.
Uh,
Good.
Explain how you can get people on the ship.
The spirit that inhabits my armor casts spells for me. I don't cast the spells. One of the
The
spells he can do is something called a
spirit.
dimensional door. From what I
There is
understand,
a spirit in your armor.
correct. He's a hand of Shar.
I mean, to be fair, there's a spirit in Ada's bag. This isn't really out of the realm of reason.
It is not.
There's not, but let's continue.
I think he meant the dwarf.
Oh,
I did.
this? Oh, the head of
Yes.
Grant. Yeah, you're right.
I'm sure it's something similar. I am not smart enough for this kind of thing.
You
Continue,
speak with
Jordan.
it.
What was that?
You speak with it.
Yes.
What does it have to say?
All manner of knowledge. He's a very angry Sylvan that has a lot of grudges against Avery and the church. Mostly for having his spirit ripped and stuck in some armor.
How does he feel about you killing Avery?
He's ecstatic. In fact, that's the reason why I did it.
That's the reason why?
He's one of them.
I was gonna say, I feel like the fact that he was trying to kill us may have superseded such a thing.
One of the reasons. Please pick up
Okay.
on context.
All right, so we have a plan C. First, Taldred talks to them. That falls through. You talk to them, and then while you're doing that, make sure that you have your magic door or whatever. You, me, and Gasmere up top. We kill the captain. That's all we can do.
I don't like that.
Do you not like being on the ground? We need some shield for them. He nods to both Nothing Gold and Ada.
What about you three?
I think I could try and do one of the scrolls that I learned was Sunbeam. I don't know if anybody knows what that spell does, but I could try and slice the ship in half. But I would be taken down by the dragons, and I would not want to do that if you were on the ship. Our biggest issue is on the opening salvo that we fire, the return salvo roasts us all on the ground. I don't have a good answer for that, is my problem.
Wait, so what do we know about these dragons? I know some things about dragons in general, but what about these specific dragons? What are they?
Remind me,
Red.
what were they?
Red.
Red dragons.
Red.
Okay, so what do red dragons do?
breathe fire.
Okay. What do we have things that can protect us from fire? I have spells. I have spells.
What about the mace off of Avery?
How much do we know about that though? This is across the table, out of character.
We don't know anything about it because I
That's-
haven't let you look at it.
Exactly.
Oh,
I don't
awesome.
think we
Okay.
know.
I don't even know I'm fire immune, so.
Do you not? That's fantastic. No, wait. Does he not though? Because you said he felt it. I'm kind of wondering about that.
I defer to you in if you,
Yeah.
however you want to play that.
I would say he probably felt the heat, but didn't notice he wasn't getting hurt from it.
That makes sense.
Sounds good to me.
It's like standing in front of a heater.
Well, Nothing Gold did a bang up job.
I could cast the chill shield on myself. It would absorb some of the fire damage, but I can't do both at the same time.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
At the very least, this, as he beats his chest, is resistant to fire. I can stand between you and that boat. You cut it in half with your sunbeam.
I'm not sure it would work.
Is there any reason
Right.
why you can't just, I put invisibility on you and you just stay low somewhere and just ambush the ship? How long does that spell take?
It should be instantaneous, but you know, first of all, the invisibility will break, and I can cast invisibility as well. But in general, folks, let's talk about invisibility and fighting particularly evil creatures who draw from the Shadow Weave and other such sources.
Well, if you're
They're prepared for such magics. These are fairly low-level magics, and if you are going into combat, the first thing you're going to do is survey the battlefield with a spell that reveals invisibility.
And that's
So-
absolutely true, but they aren't expecting a fight. They're expecting to contact some miners and do a transaction,
If there
which
was
is part of the reason why I am not completely opposed to being the first to swing.
I agree with this plan, and I will do it. I just want to express to everybody, because there's been some notions about invisibility being some sort of silver
Okay.
bullet.
Well, in that
That's all.
case, if they're gonna detect a spell, don't be invisible. Just stay super low, near some trees, with some shrubs on top of you. It's reconnaissance 101.
I'm fine with that. And Taldred, let me make a small counterpoint. If they didn't come to fight, why did they bring two mounted dragon knights?
Because they're cool.
Well, I assume that's just part of their retinue.
I have never tended a dragon before, but I imagine their demands require quite...
I am gonna go
Fortune.
under the assumption that if you're going to be driving something around, like a spelljammer is what you called it, that thing probably takes a lot of materials and other things to make. I would probably fly it around with a couple dragons to protect your investment.
Yes, if not intending to fight would actually keep you safe, there would be so many people here who wouldn't be needing to pay anyone for protection.
That's fair. Okay. I'll stay out of eyesight during the fight. The opener of the fight, I suppose. If my opening salvo does not take down the ship, the plan B is Yoros leaping the martial types up to the ship. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I believe so.
You see me
I'll-
take down the captain, they can't fly, right?
Unless they have another trained navigator.
I'm not sure. It depends. I've never inspected a spelljammer, but I imagine there's some sort of helm or bauble or trinket that it attunes to.
I don't
Again-
know.
again,
I would
I'm
presume
just-
with any
sorry, go ahead.
boat, you would have multiple people that can turn the wheel. Or the rudder, so to speak.
Even if we take down the spelljammer, we still have the two dragons.
Yeah, except we're then on a floating boat.
Do you know how to drive the boat?
I don't intend to.
I mean, there's also the point of once we're on the Spelljammer, if they don't believe they can retake it, the dragons have no reason not to scuttle it and just burn it down. So I'll be honest, I really don't care for the idea of you all going up there. And we don't know how many Githyanki are going to be between you and their captain.
Also true. Or we get Ada on the ship somehow and she figures out how the control works. Drives the boat away or shoots the dragons. I don't know what it does.
I could probably get myself on the boat if I need to.
Well, we can get 4 people up there then, but I have no way to get up there.
Right. Regardless, I think these are... At least taking out the commander has to be priority number 1. They're an army, they're a regimented force. Typically, if you take out the commander, their efficacy as a military unit falls dramatically.
That tracks.
Does anyone else have artillery style spells? Because if that's the foot we lead off with, if you simply channel those spells ahead of time, wait for them to show, and just launch at that boat and take them by surprise, because they don't know what they're walking into. I think that is the biggest thing we have going for us.
Nothing Gold, you mentioned earlier tonight that you're an artificer. I've known artificers to create small cannons.
Same.
So by this point, she's actively wandered off from the party. Like, she's asleep, you think.
Amazing.
Where'd she go? Okay, oh well.
We'll catch her up in the morning.
Maybe she can aggressively turn into a cat at them.
Or a spider.
Something that can fly. It's 5 on
Amazing.
the boat.
Spiders fly, don't they?
Well, Taldred, I think you should still take the opening tack. And why don't you have a verbal cue so I know when to fire the first shot?
I'll say negotiations are heating up.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be standing back. I don't think it would incite their ire too much if I were to cast a chill shield on myself at the beginning of the encounter.
Again, I like the idea of you being out of view.
I'll do my best, but they're going to be flying.
Yeah,
We
well,
may not have warning.
Well, we know they're coming in the afternoon, so that's for sure. So if we find a place to settle down, then maybe that's something we should think about, is picking where we want to wait for them at.
I can't wait to see the look on Samantha Ruthenberg's face. I gotta say, this is gonna be a blast.
I'll be honest, I'd rather avoid this entirely, but I am kind of looking forward to it.
Silver linings to everything, I guess. Renner kind of stokes the campfire in front of him.
Just to be sure, we are negotiating, was it? We kept going back and forth between violence and words, so I lost track.
We are negotiating, but we should have many snap action contingencies in play.
Or see if you can just negotiate another 5 days for double or nothing.
I really don't want to push this downriver anymore.
Why?
Because, honestly, we're not in a bad position right now. Who knows where we'll be in 5 days?
Agreed.
I wish Nothing Gold had just given him the fucking mithril at the outset. I don't know why we did all this. Like, this is so senseless.
To be fair,
And she's not even here.
I don't actually think they would have taken just that. I think the deal that they had with whoever that bitch in the mines was, the deal that they had was probably for more than just that little bit, and they might have come back several times. That's why I'm going to try and convince them that we are out of the mining game for good.
How do they even know where we're gonna be?
He
They're
gave them
tracking
his
me.
name.
So?
Have you never cast an augury spell?
No.
Oh, you
What
just
do you
cast
think
a
I
spell.
am?
I don't
Did
know.
you just wizard splain to him?
He clearly needs it.
It really does.
Listen, Yoros, nothing against you, but showing some earnest interest in how these magics work would help all of us, including yourself. We have come to some sort of disagreements and miscasting before that I hope won't happen in the future. So I think these types of conversations where we illuminate how our wizarding works would, and your patron, warlock, whatever you are, would be beneficial for all groups.
His name is Moss. Spirit's name is Moss.
Moss. You
But-
said Sylvan. Do you speak Sylvan?
I know Sylvan because of him, yes.
Interesting.
This is some manner of what? A fey spirit.
I guess.
Interesting.
Well, that's interesting, and I'm glad you two are on good terms, because it can be an ugly thing when a warlock and its patron have a big disagreement.
Seems to be the case with all powers that be.
Indeed.
I mean, there are times he wouldn't help me out with the spell, so. Why do you think I rely on my sword fighting so much still?
Well, let's hope he doesn't pull out the rug from under you. Do we have anything else to discuss about this, or can we get a night's sleep?
We should sleep. I don't
Yeah.
want to go groggy-eyed into two dragons from the sky.
It'll be in the afternoon. I think we have time, but I would agree we shouldn't tarry.
I mean, I'm not going to complain from the feast we had yesterday morning, but
Oh, we'll
Can
have
sh-
another one tomorrow.
can she make coffee?
Yeah, absolutely.
We should do that.
She can afford
Okay.
coffee?
Oh, this will be a glorious death for all of us. And by all of us, I mean all of you, because I run faster than any of you. Gastmere turns around and heads off to her blanket for sleeps.
I don't think she does.
That's what he's like. I don't think that's true.
I sprint so fast.
You know, it's just like, I can't wait to show her how fast I can run.
Ah, what a meaningless competition. Good night, everybody.
Hey,
And G, were you up to something in the night here? Yes, you.
I would like to go through Samantha's things.
Okay. Roll investigation.
One second. Okay, I'm gonna flash of genius this, so 12 altogether.
Okay. Roll stealth. You find Samantha's pack.
Another flash of, this is the last flash of insight, so 18 for stealth.
What are you looking for?
Her sword, the one she stabbed me with.
As you look below her bedroll, you realize that her sword is still on her hip. What else are you looking for?
Does she have any correspondence?
You realize something. Evan and Samantha travel extremely light. You find no correspondence.
All right, and there's literally nothing else here.
There truly isn't. You notice something. You notice that Evan and Samantha travel, and you notice this back at Alistrath's Old Vines. They travel extremely light. Samantha was walking down the road in full armor, not carrying a bag.
And she's still armored now while she's sleeping.
That's correct. You could attempt to sneak up on her in the night, I suppose. If you really wanted to get a look at that sword, you can see it across the glade here.
What if she wild shapes into a spider and moves closer to inspect with all the benefits of spider eyes?
With your goal being, I'm just processing here, with your goal being to get a good glance at her sword in order to potentially ascertain the properties of said sword. Is that correct?
Yes. So I think specifically it's been mentioned that Samantha has this connection to Thorm, but Nothing Gold is still unsure where her connection to magic actually is, like if she's drawing from the same pool of magic that she and Taldred have, or what's up with that. So
I understand. You can, with the rolls that you've already made, become Spider Gold and study her sword in an attempt to ascertain potentially where she draws her magic from, or you could also study the properties of her sword for the purposes of applying it to another weapon. Give me 1 second. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
You were going to say something?
is that either or?
No, it's both.
Awesome. Yes, that's exactly what I want.
You can check your character channel. I will give you information. You do not possess these items, but you study these items.
Okay. Awesome. What about Evan's equipment? Does he seem similarly equipped to Samantha?
Potentially. You notice that he has a beefy-looking dagger on the outside of his armor on his ankle. A sizable backup weapon. You observe that they have similar-looking armor, but it's not exactly the same. Should you want to continue investigating, it would be another stealth and investigation roll, but you could check out Evan Spanbauer's equipment as well.
I think she won't risk it.
If you're sure.
I'm not, but
I assume you come back into your humanoid form, resume. Yes.
sleeping.
Okay. I get the impression that people would like to sleep. Are you hitting
I'd
the
like to
ready
set a
button?
watch.
Oh, how interesting.
We got robbed last night, people.
Yep. Fair point.
Walk me
I
through
actually
it.
forgot about that.
I'll take the first watch.
I'll stay up first. I'm already stoking the fire anyway,
All right, then I'll take the last watch.
and I'm just chilling by the rock.
Gasmir will take one of the middle watches, I guess. Or yeah, she'll do it. It's fine.
This is a 2-hour watches, extending your total rested time to get everybody rested to 10 hours. Is that correct? So I have yours for the first watch. I have Gasmir with one of the 2 middle watches, and Ada with the last watch.
Brenner will catch the one after yours.
Brenner, are your companions going to hang out over there, or are they going to come sleep with us?
Across the table, there's no sleeping bags on the map, but I assume they're going to sleep with us.
That's correct, yes. Should you wish to have a conversation with them, you certainly could. But I got the impression that you all talked well into the night about the Githyanki problem, shall we say. And it is thus that you initiate your watch with Yoros up first, Brenner up second, Gasmir up third, and Ada watching last. Is that correct? Any final thoughts before we pull that? Why don't we take our 5-minute break?
Sounds good.
myself Taco Bell for dinner.
Hi.
Hello.
Word up.
Bird up.
I'm really looking forward to the soup.
I love soup.
What kind of soup?
Good.
Tomato bisque.
Sausage, tomato, and corn.
Huh.
So you see now the dichotomy between the group.
What?
Who, me? Or
Now Ian and I both immediately bullied him for his sausage.
Sausage.
You get a very wholesome huh from Latra.
Yeah, let's be real. Half the time, fucking single brain cell between us is on full fire.
That's true.
First of all, you both love regionalism, so don't. I won't take any condemnation from you.
I'm a fucking Irishman living in the Appalachians. I don't know what you want, man.
Some camaraderie.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm sorry, Appalachians. Eat that egg in one bite, I dare you.
It still has the shell on.
I don't care, do it.
They're edible.
God, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, technically yes, but I really wouldn't advise it.
Pencil erasers are edible too.
Yeah, so are fingernails.
Oh, God.
I didn't even realize we spent 2 hours around a campfire.
Hey man, during the summer I'll spend 6 hours around a campfire. I don't give a fuck.
Mike said all of like 10 words after we got done with Samantha.
Yeah, but Mike's just fine. He's having a good time.
I am having a great time. The intros this week were like 2,700 words. I think I stumbled once. It was like 20 minutes of straight talking. That was pretty good.
They nailed them.
Yeah, buddy.
It was like a dream sequence without us being asleep.
So yeah, I'm vibing. I'm feeling good. And it is such that I think we've returned from our 5. You guys good to go?
Okay, I'm good.
You set up a watch rotation with Euros first, Brenner second, Gasmere third, and Ada on the last watch. You find that you and your companions sleep dreamlessly under the sky. Irregular, broken clouds appear around midnight like Char's lace cuffs. It casts shadows across your camp. Give me 1 second. You find yourselves, you may need to reposition yourselves, you find yourselves waking in the morning as the sun rises on the morning of September 7th. It's chilly and wet and feels more like winter than fall. Your watches went uneventfully. The actions with the party.
Taldred immediately begins casting his Hero's Feast.
You start the ritual to cast Hero's Feast. It takes 10 minutes, but you start immediately upon waking up.
You think you can't just load that on the back of the cart?
I can't think of a reason for us to hurry and get to the cart.
Yeah, fair.
We should eat really well. We should be bolstered instead of panicked and rushed.
I'd like to approach Elias, Kit, and Sal Vance.
You do so. You observe that they, just as you are getting ready in the mornings. Sala must weigh 220 or 230 because Sala must weigh 220 or 230, and she's just a bit shorter than Gastmir and Taldrid. You wonder if Sala became a monk because it would be hard to find armor that fits. It must be hard to make a person like that unsure of themselves, but the tiefling's tale cannot hide her obvious anxieties. Kit seems to be copying the Dragon Knights. He's using a whetstone and the water from his canteen to sharpen the curve of his glaive. They glance at you as you approach Ada. Having been introduced at Alistras Old Vines, they both give you a curt, respectful nod and say, Ada, Ada.
Hello, folks. Good morning. I wanted to fill you two in on something that we're going to encounter later today. You are in Brenner's company, is that correct?
Aye, that's right. We follow the Iron Main.
Anybody who's earned Brenner's trust has also earned my trust. So I trust you completely.
Sala tilts her head. When you say encounter later today, that sounds a bit ominous, my friend.
It is a bit ominous. We expect to encounter, and you're not going to believe me, a spelljammer and 2 mounted red dragons by the Githyanki.
They both look between each other and then laugh. Well, okay. That's fine. I've never heard that one before.
Well, you're about to see it, and I'm dead serious. You don't have to believe me, but it's coming. We hope to avoid a fight, but one may happen.
They reconsider for a moment, seeming to suddenly realize that you are, in fact, not joking. Elias tilts his head. Well, how would you suggest we prepare if we could?
Well, I'm expecting some sort of fire attack from the dragons. Maybe some sort of cover, if you have any... I don't know what your capabilities are. I assume you can hold your own in combat. So prepare for aerial attack. And I'm not certain of this, but I believe the Githyanki have the ability to turn invisible. So prepare for an unexpected attack. I am hoping all things go peacefully, but I just thought you two should know.
They look between each other as if this was unsaid, that they were clearly on the same side here. We appreciate that so much. They pause for a moment, and Sala takes a step closer to you, Ada. Did we do something to anger? He gestures toward Brenner. Did we fall short in our duties? Did he say something to you?
It would have been apparent on their travels that Brenner has been very short with them since leaving the winery.
Him and all of us are under a lot of stress. I can't guess at his mood, but he has been a little sharp. I don't think it has to do with you. I think you are the only thing keeping him going on this journey.
Elias nods slowly. Well, thank you for the warning, either way. We'll do our best to assist you as we can.
My opening maneuver, should it turn violent, will be to attempt to cut the ship in half with magic. Should that fail, we will have a boarding party. I don't necessarily expect you to be involved in that, because we don't have enough to get everybody up there.
Boarding the Spelljammer, that is.
Boarding the Spelljammer. There will be several of us on the ground, myself included, and the obvious cloth, non-armor wearing types. And we would be eternally grateful for a combination of forces of you and us, once on the ground.
Sala considers this, looks to you, and says, you'd prefer us on the ground then. Should we guard some of your softer types? And
That's exactly right.
You sense that she's talking about you.
That's exactly right. It will be a challenging maneuver to cut such an artifact in half. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I hope it won't come to that. And I appreciate that you're both here.
Elias nods, and they express that they hope to be of some use. And you convey clear instructions that they should be guarding the people who are not a part of the boarding party. You provide this instruction. Go ahead.
I'm going to lean in close to Elias and say, personally, I think our journey is a one-sided one. I don't know if we're coming back. I imagine it weighs heavily on him, as it does on me.
He nods, understanding the gravity of this situation and what Brenner must be going through, and the enhanced responsibilities that he has now.
I'll nod and I'll say, any questions?
They consider for a moment, but then shake their heads. Will be with you.
I'll be over here if you need anything.
She's not directly interacting with anybody, but just for visual aid, Nothing Gold is scribbling on a bunch of different sheets of paper. There's some weapon-shaped drawings happening, but mostly a bunch of equations.
Visual aids are extensively encouraged, by the way.
At this point, Brenner is likely just relighting the campfire. You said it was cold and wet this morning. Best to dry off.
It is. There's dew on the grass. There are clouds. It is partly cloudy today. Perhaps 45 degrees. Go ahead, please.
I'm going to peek over Nothing Gold's shoulder. Are you doing some research over there?
In a way, you know that I'm interested in forging a weapon, right?
Oh, interesting. I thought this was a will of intuition and not a mechanical procedure.
It can be both, depending on the material that I'm using. Sometimes it wishes to shape itself, but for the most part, if I needed to do exactly one thing, there is a little bit of calculation that unfortunately has to go into this.
Ada will hop her butt onto the rock that you're on and say, please explain what you're doing. And don't spare me any detail.
So it eventually comes out that she is looking, or sketching out rather, a diagram of a long sword that has vorpal properties, and has the ability to just instantly kill someone with a 5% chance. And if you look closely enough at the drawing, because it is fairly realistic, and then look over at Samantha, you'll realize that it's the exact same weapon.
I will be very interested in peppering you with annoying little questions.
Eventually, Brenner will also come back over. He, at this point, has clearly been interested in your art project. You know the temple. He points to the hilt of the guard of your blade. You know, to slap some fancy lions there or something. I'm not saying you should. I like it this way.
Lions. I don't know that I know lions to be particularly murderous.
Brenner just looks down at himself. I don't know.
Protective, yes.
I'm glad you see it that way.
Is somebody going to get the horses warmed up?
Yeah. Brenner takes that as a cue to go deal with the horses.
Oh no! She leans over to Ada, is like, oh, I would have asked Gasimir to do it, actually. She's not really doing anything.
I
I'll
think
go help. I'll walk
I think
over
you
and
should
help the
concentrate.
horses.
I heard that.
Good, you should!
So, as Yoros comes over and starts helping with the horses, he whispers to Brenner, hey, if I get one of us up on the ship, I don't know how to get down to get the other person.
You know who to bring then.
I've been informed I can only do this thing twice.
Well, I can't jump off a boat without dying.
Right.
So you know who to bring. As he looks dead at you at this point.
Yes.
All right, can we say it's been 10 minutes?
I think it's been 10 minutes.
Taldred fires it up and yells, "Soup's on!"
Describe the nature of your Taldred breakfast.
Oh, God, and then some, right? We're talking, you got the bacons, you got the sausages, you've got the dragon meat again, even though it fucking ruined Taldred inside. He's got a taste for it now. He can't go back. You got that big old thing of coffee. You know, there's just fresh mountain water. Just scrambled eggs even, but like really like eggs from a rock, right? Like those kind of eggs. Just fantastic stuff. Poached, boiled, you name it.
Is there dessert? Like a creme brulee?
Yeah, there'd be pastries, I imagine. Yes, there would be pastries of some fashion.
I do appreciate the feast.
I'm so glad to hear that, Lady Gastamere. How do Samantha and is it Dickface? Hold on. Evan. I was way off.
You sense hostile eyes upon you. Each of them is eating dry crackers taken from a ration pack. They both look rather judgmental of what you're doing.
Oh, fuck. Taldred is pissed. All right, he's going over there.
You close the distance.
Taldred approaches them.
How quickly do you charge over there? You sound pretty motivated.
God, he's almost like stomping his feet.
You do so. Both paladins eye you up as if they're not sure what your intentions are here.
Taldred says, "That feast can feed 12, okay?"
Excellent. Thank you for the update on your profligacy spellcasting. Amazing.
Go and eat. Because if you're going to be on the road with
Well,
us today,
What's the source of your magic?
the fuck does it matter? I offered you a meal, the best goddamn meal you'll ever eat.
Spanbauer spits on the ground. I don't take bribes.
Who the fuck said anything about a bribe?
Samantha snorts and shakes her head. Nice try, holy man.
You're a paladin. What? Oh my god. Taldred is actually like just. He's like, we are going to be attacked by the Githyanki today, okay? If you eat that, there's a much better chance you won't die, all right? Or even if you do, at least you had one last good meal than the shitty ration crackers.
As you say this, Samantha takes a cracker from the tin wrapper and bites it at you. And then gives you a...
Such a fucking child.
She gives you a huge fake smile.
Why do you make NPCs like this?
I think
Forbes better be right about you.
Hold on. What the fuck does that mean?
Great question. And Taldred walks away.
You find yourself pursued.
Is she coming towards the breakfast table?
She's coming towards you. What did you just say?
Taldrin has like a huge croissant in his mouth. He goes.
She knocks the croissant out of your mouth. What did you just say?
I said Forbes better be right about you.
And what does that mean? What are you referencing? I heard what you said, but what did you say?
I hope you're worth the trouble.
She glares icily at you. Sir Evan Spanbauer walks up and puts his hand on her shoulder and turns her around.
Coffee,
Taldrin says,
Samantha?
yeah, you're good at walking away.
Gasmir's drinking coffee. Very casually asking. Sit.
Once the horses are tended to, Brenner and I assume Yoris would rejoin for this feast.
Euros.
Oh, nothing gold.
Do you still have that sword that we got from the dwarf?
The one on my waist.
Yes.
I'll look down at it.
Are you presently attached to it?
It is on my waist, yes.
In an emotional sense?
I have never used it.
Can I use it to upgrade to a better one?
Have at it.
She'll take the sword.
Can I have my rock back?
What rock?
Alright.
What sword are we using? Please describe, if we're doing some artificer forging, walk me through the process.
Not yet. I can tell you what she intends to do with it, but it's a little bit stupid. This will be Grint's sword of just the Decimator, right?
What's it?
It's a +4 sword
yes,
that
Decimator +4.
A longsword specifically that's cursed.
Correct.
Where a curse means
I don't know. Haven't used it.
when Samantha's not looking, I think Nothing Gold will start to use her, like the flame wires that she produces to sort of start shaping metal. She's gonna make the hilt start to look like Samantha's.
And this is, you are modifying Decimator to appear more,
Yes.
more like Samantha's sword and attempting to imbue the qualities thereof onto it. Or is this merely appearance?
Merely appearance. So maybe this is a good time to ask, would just looking at an item be enough to understand how to imbue the properties?
I think studying it, holding it in your hands, you are a high-level artificer. You have, I think, the ability to parse the qualities and properties of an item by holding it in your hands and studying it for a few moments, or being close to it for a protracted amount of time.
Or being stabbed by it. All right. Then maybe we roll back on this entire exchange because she was about to attempt to swap out the swords when Samantha wasn't looking.
You tell me, however you'd like to roll with it.
Yeah, let's roll back. I'm gonna take another look at the inventory because now that I can use these effects, this does change what I want to imbue with it.
As you wish, Nothing Gold.
Okay, the dagger that she has from Gastmere.
What about it?
Can she imbue that with the properties?
I don't see why not. Which properties? Vorpal?
The Vorpal property. If it can be further stacked than the 5% chance property would be great too.
Why isn't this a project that you work on throughout the day, and perhaps the next time you rest, you will have a sharper dagger of Gastmere?
Speaking of item stuff, I did have a question. I can't remember if we talked about this yet. The Baylor horn, the one that adds 1d10 thunder damage, is using it an entire action.
It is a. Let me look at the text for it.
Basically, it says it casts Electrify, which I'm guessing is an actual spell, which I would also assume takes an entire action.
Yes, activating this is an action. It lasts for an hour.
Okay.
You hear a voice. Samantha calls over to the party. Are you all done suckling off the teat of the Shadow Weave?
This is from the Seldarine, actually.
There's no response.
No.
Gastmere pours Ada another cup of coffee.
Samantha, you must be hungry. You're not traveling with food.
She does look hungry. She looks a bit gaunt, actually. You realize that there's not much body fat stored in her face.
As a paladin, do you not have the ability to detect certain evilness?
She walks over to you. She makes a point of brushing past Taldred roughly. She leans into you, Nothing Gold, and says, I didn't need to be a paladin to detect that. What else? Is that what magic is for you? A little plaything? Summon something nice to eat?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it offensive that we're using it for anything but to kill people?
Detect who made it? That's what you think all of this is for?
I mean, I didn't make it, so it's probably good. To be fair to Taldred.
Samantha, you've been mean for so long you don't even know when somebody's trying to do something nice for you. I feel bad for you.
She closes her eyes in frustration. You know she's thinking about Nothing Gold when she says, "Oh, I should have killed you the first time." She opens her eyes and walks away. As she walks past Gasmere and Brenner, she says, I guess I'd hoped that the more serious members of your party would keep you a bit more on task.
Brenner laughs deeply at that.
Weakness of the flesh, I'm afraid. I'll let you know once we've all evolved past the need to eat. Although, you might die first, by the looks of it. You're looking quite sallow.
She keeps walking. The coffee tastes warm and soothing. Excellent.
Just tap down the urge to like fucking sit on Samantha and shove like croissants into her face.
Can I say that there's like fucking spectacular, just like I don't even know how to describe it, but like, you know, like pipe tobacco there, right?
Sure. That seems
Yeah,
like a
it's all
reasonable
fucking lights up
refreshment.
that- Yeah.
Describe your smoking implement. Do you have a, or is this just like part of the spread?
I would hope it'd be part of the spread, yeah.
You do. You have a long fluted tobacco pipe, and you light up.
Fantastic.
It's a nice morning, if a bit chilly.
Nothing gold. If she tries to kill you, I'll just put her in the sky like I did that flaming fist guy.
Please do.
I think
I've got
she's
a better
all.
idea. Let's put her in the ground.
Oh, that's step 2.
What comes up, Aldred?
Drop her from high enough, she digs her own hole too.
She's not gonna touch you.
She's a starving animal at this point. It's mostly just bark.
You do know what starving animals do at the first sight of food, do you not?
Apparently walk away from it.
But she does know the first thing about bark. Do you not, Nothing Gold?
She sort of like makes a groaning noise at Ada.
Taldred throws a croissant at Ada's head.
I see we woke up into violence.
Why am I the one that gets yelled at?
I don't suppose anyone had any interesting dreams last night, right?
Wish I did.
Why would you want to... Did you have an interesting dream?
Not one that I can share out loud, no, but I was curious if Helm had made contact with any of us.
I think I'm the last person on Toril that Helm would want to contact.
Because of your association with, or previous association with Torm?
Maybe I'm painting words into the mouth of someone I don't know. But when you revoke the divine, I don't think his friends are going to see too kindly of you.
The gods believe in redemption. But the important ones do.
Do they?
Yes.
Yeah, you're all created in their image. They love you.
Some
Everybody
too
loves
much.
me, though.
Across the table at this point, had Sala and Elias actually eaten any of the food, or are they just chilling over there?
This was never offered to them. Far be it from them to impose upon this
But-
feast.
They ate from it yesterday. Surely they would know. And I yelled out loud that 12 people can eat it.
Okay, I did not know that you attempted to direct that toward them. I think it would be reasonable to assume that, yes, they have partaken in your magical feast.
Okay, Brenner was going to force it on them otherwise.
Okay, yes, thank you.
I don't think we were created in the gods' image.
Why not?
Because some of the gods used to be us.
Does that not...
Isn't that a fallacy, though? I mean, you guys are making fun of me all the time, and then you're like, oh, created in their image, so...
I don't...
Well,
Yes,
that
Euros,
would
whatever
simply
you say.
imply that some of the gods are stupid as well.
yeah.
Yes, I
Yes.
agree.
Power and intelligence don't really necessarily go hand in hand.
Look, I'm just trying to make a nudge at the gods of my own self-worth, so please just laugh.
Please
enough.
clap.
Well, are we done eating?
Not yet.
Okay.
Just take it on the road. I think at this point we've probably eaten through the majority of this hour's worth of breakfast and
Yeah.
pipe tobacco and angst.
The most important angst of the day.
Are you ready to continue onward? Any final thoughts here?
I hope we don't die.
We're going to die, I'm sorry.
Oh, you all get 6 maximum HP, by the way.
Okay.
Sick.
Including
Unfortunately, not that sick.
including Elias and Sala?
Correct.
Yes,
For eating the
whoever
food?
ate.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
It's not going to save them, but
It might. Every little bit helps.
This is true.
Traveling onward, you are? South on the road toward Suzail, the capital of Cormyr.
I believe that is correct.
You travel as the road continues southwest. A flock of starlings studies you from the canopy of an oak. You pass a sign that reads, "This territory is under the control of the Zentarum Empire." The road follows the curve of a stream. A person often meets their destiny on the road that they sought to avoid it. One moment. You find yourself somewhere new. There, whoever pinged that, it is a downed oak tree. It's on its side. It looks freshly felled, either by nature or by someone.
Brenner driving the cart would take it up to the tree, trying to see what forces might have brought this thing down. If he couldn't figure it out, probably the 8 other people behind him could.
You do so. The sun is high in the sky, and it is thus that you have excellent illumination with which to investigate this fallen tree. Roll investigation.
Two.
You observe that this tree landed not in the path. You have no idea what the significance of this might be. Was someone trying to block the road, you think? If so, they didn't do a very good job. You are unable to attain any other meaningful information from this, Brenner. You feel a bit out of your league.
Trees are complicated.
Can Nothing Gold hop down and go check out the roots for further information?
Why don't you roll nature?
9.
You see that the roots were ripped out very recently. The purple dragon knights walk up to the cart. Samantha drums on the side. When you look back, Brenner, she gestures at you with an open arm as if she has no idea what you're trying to do here.
Last time I saw trees falling from the roots, the world lit on fire. A bad omen.
Can she circle around and look for sparrows or chipmunks, any kind of small creatures that might be nearby?
You can. Why don't you roll nature again? Ada Worthware. You have a bad feeling.
I rolled a 15.
You rolled a 15. One moment. Suddenly, there's a massive buzzing sound. It reminds you faintly of the wards that the Flaming Fist used.
Everybody, get ready for something.
A massive spelljammer appears in realm space, crushing trees and sending a puff of cold wind across your face. The hole must be 100 feet long, and the Githyanki knights that man it are all wearing identical full plate that covers their faces and limbs. The sails reach high into the sky, and the captain calls out to Taldred, roll a d6.
1d6?
Yes.
5.
The captain turns to you, Euros, and says, "Finding Taltron Talmud I am, providing mithril ore, 500 pounds you are."
Taldred
The spell-
turns...
Go ahead.
Just, can I? Taldred turns to Samantha, pats her on the back lightly, and goes, "How are those crackers holding up, champ?"
You do so. She does not say a word and seems to be awestruck as this spelljammer looms over the landscape. Euros, from hundreds of feet above you, it is difficult to even accurately judge the distance from the angle at which you are forced to do this. The Githyanki captain in the very top of the crow's nest of the spelljammer must be looking right at you.
He called for you, Taldred.
Taldred waves.
I'm gonna creep backwards.
Good call.
You wave. The Githyanki captain looks at you. "Finding Taltron Talmud. Not finding my mithril."
It's Taldred.
"It's where?"
Tell you what, Taldred casts tongues
You cast tongues.
on himself.
One of the dragon riders has his dragon breathe fire on the roadway as a show of force. You cast tongues.
I'm gonna cast Fire Shield, Chill Shield on myself.
You cast Chill Shield on yourself, surrounding yourself with frozen arcane armor. Taldred, you can understand many tongues of the world.
Taldred says, and he can understand me perfectly as well. Taldred says, "Now you can talk in a language that you can actually speak."
What language do you speak to him? Do you know? Do you need to know for tongues?
It doesn't matter because he can understand everything I say. That's how tongues works.
You do this. You reach out to him and speak to him in a way that he can completely understand, just in case there was some kind of language barrier. Go ahead. What do you say?
Taldred says, "Mithril ore was stolen."
Thieving? By you, you mean?
No, by Flaming Fist in Arabel.
Mattering not. Any of that is, where is my ore?
They stole it.
Surmising that your word is worse than weak steel, I am.
Taldred says, "You didn't leave any defenders. We were powerless."
They look intensely judgmental. Why would someone say that they are powerless? Questioning we are. What is wrong with you?
What's rude? That's rude. We were miners. You said go mine.
Mining
We got
mithril
ore.
you could not do. Producing mithril ore you are not.
Taldred says, "We don't have it. It was stolen."
Creating a difficult situation you are, Talmud.
Taldred.
The spelljammer looms ominously above you. One of the dragons swoops low.
Talter just kind of shuffles. He just looks and shrugs like, I ain't got it.
You have a sense of loss. Let's roll initiative. But I'd like to pick up the combat next week. If that's okay, is that objectionable? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's already 7:50.
Yeah.
So roll initiative. I will get the order together. We will use this for a couple things. So go ahead, feed me some initiative numbers.
19. Nat 20.
Told her with a 19.
Ada rolled a 4, and that one.
17.
Ada with a 4. Brenner Oswick with a 17. Lissa Gatsmer with a 15. Euros, nothing gold. Hit me.
24.
Euros with a 24. Fast act, as always.
17.
Nothing gold, you got to roll off Brenner.
I think
mean-
Brenner plus NG minus.
Brenner plus NG minus. Got it. Thank you very much. And let's cut it there. Great session. You guys are the best.
I want to kill him.
Why?
Same.
You don't want to. I guess we're past the point of negotiation. You don't want to be friends with them or give them something.
You don't want to try the Shar negotiation.
I think it's past that point. What a shame.
Probably better than Brenner's choice.
What was Brenner's choice?
Give them Samantha.
I don't.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think it's past.
What?
that
Why would they
negotiation.
want Samantha?
That's why he
Wouldn't
questioned
you
Ada
want
with the...
Samantha. I mean, she's got a fucking bauble blade. I'd want Samantha.
She's all skin and bones, though.
There's also a holy radiant knight. They follow a lich queen.
They're very cranky. I bet that they were given a talking to by whoever commissioned this.
Very judgmental about this Lich
Yeah.
Queen thing.
Nothing gold sympathetic to the Get the Yankee?
I mean, wouldn't you be sympathetic if you were had to serve a Lich Queen?
I guess.
Why such a negative value judgment about the Lich Queen? Yes, this keeps getting brought up.
What is wrong
Yeah.
with the Lich Queen? That
Oh, we
sounds-
hate
great.
the undead.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
We hate like most of them. Grint seemed okay.
We're fine.
we literally took the undead, the first undead that we saw. We were like, oh, it's ours. And now we have it.
Ghosts don't
One of
count
them
as
was-
undead.
Yes, they
Yeah, they do.
do.
Do they?
I
Like
think they do.
mechanically?
Yeah.
Mechanically, yeah. They get damaged by holy damage or healing, all that jazz.
Also, this is funny, but Ada probably doesn't know this, but the Get the Yankee Society worships a Vorpal silver blade.
Oh, well
Oh.
then yes, give them Samantha.
So giving them Samantha might be there's a specific holy one. It's probably not Samantha's, so it's like not necessarily right. But usually when they're brought into adventures, like the GM gives the party a silvered Vorpal blade +3, and then they Get the Yankee are like, "Give me sword."
So we can give them sword. Perfect.
Well, we don't know this, so
Also, how could you just want to give them a person? Like how many? And then you wonder why you have so many transgressions.
Why don't you just give him the sword and not the person?
Yeah, did Delyssa's thing start as of yesterday? Yesterday?
It starts. Yes. So, I forgot to give. Yes, Gasmir, you have a transgression to hand out today. If not, it becomes yours.
Yeah.
oh shit. Yeah, who gets it? Say it to my face.
Oh, you have all day. Don't let these ne'er-do-wells pressure you into giving it out before lunch. You know.
Just asking, if you're gonna stab me, do it in the front and not the back.
I'm just gonna have to fuck around and find out.
I'm gonna need that transgression on my desk by lunch.
Just give it to me so I can be at top again.
I think having the Red Knight as her patron's like the coolest shit ever.
Right?
Yeah, that's a sick turn.
Don't think about that. She serves Torm.
Is everyone? So I know, Dave, you're going to be late next week, right? You're like an hour late. Okay.
You can sunbeam for me. It's fine.
I mean, he's
Maybe.
just walking boots with a laser cannon strapped to it. It's fine.
I gave you my spell list. You know what to do. Just blast it.
I can stall and try and negotiate.
Euros is gonna filibuster.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty good
I
at
will.
talking down an hour.
Yeah.
Because you could always ask for the last words and then have an entire fucking speech.
You could probably come up with some bullshit.
I don't doubt that.
Good.
It's not too late to pretend to be their Lich Queen and yell into their heads.
You do you.
The party has so much faith in kitschy magic tricks.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Kitschy?
There's like a lot of like obvious sleight of hand, or like, you know, it's like, what if we pretend to be an intercom system?
Yeah, exactly. What if I disguise myself as a cart and they put the gold on me?
To be fair, I never even considered, for even a second, that wasn't Forbes yelling into my head. Like, no one could possibly match that.
If someone's talking in your head, it's always Strahd.
Hmm.
Yeah, Strahd.
I'm concerned that nothing gold put a level in Mimic.
What does that even mean?
Don't worry about it.
You know, a mimic. A mimic's like, it's like a treasure chest that that chomps your head when you get close.
Yeah,
can
it
you-
has teeth.
Yeah, you try to reach into her bag and she bites you.
I didn't even know you could take levels in Mimic.
It's
Well, it was a
it's-
joke.
It's actually just gremlin, but yeah.
You didn't take a level in Iron Golem.
I'm trying, dude.
Yeah, I took a level in Minecraft Villager.
Oh.
Aww.
Did anybody take a level in not their primary class?
Somebody here did.
Yeah, me.
There are 3 multi-classes, I believe.
Brenner is
Yeah,
a
there's 3.
red-blooded human fighter.
I'm a wizard. I'm wizarding.
You're a
Cauldron
wizard,
is
Ada.
level 11 handsome.
What
so.
was that?
I'm a wizard.
Oh. Put on my pointy hat.
Arm shaking, knees weak. I'm a wizard.
God damn it! I want to slice this ship in half.
Dude, I know. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
No,
That I won't lie. That is part of the reason why I wanted this to devolve into violence. I was like, I just want to watch, that captain eat a fucking fireball in the mast.
It's a 5-foot wide, 60-foot long line where every creature takes 6d8 radiant damage and is blinded until next turn. So it's like a chop from a sword of pure light, and I can do it. It's a concentration spell, so I can keep fucking zapping it. People.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's a 6th level spell, right?
Is it fire damage?
Radiant.
Radiant, which is way better than fire.
It's like a plasma beam, essentially, is how I kind of
So
imagine.
it's basically the Kamehameha. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you know those like orbital space lasers in every fucking TV show? It's that.
You know Gears of War, the Hammer of Dawn?
The Hammer of Dong.
Yeah, it's that thing. Donkey Kong dispensing. The DKD.
Well, I am going to go eat. I will see you guys next week for more D&D.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Later.
Have a good evening.
Bye, everybody. Have a great time.